Howdy, folks, and welcome to CaliBased. Tonight's tonight's a little more of a somber episode. I'm not too excited about this one. It's not a happy topic for me. How is everybody doing tonight? Is everybody having a happy Tuesday? Everybody hanging in there with the Tucker news? I mean, today was pretty slow news day. I think I didn't see anything crazy happening, but I had to dig into stuff and prepare things for today, and it didn't make me pleased. But yeah, you saw the title of the Tonight Show, "Leave Them Kids Alone," and it is kind of like the song goes, "Hey teachers, leave them kids alone." It's unfortunately a lot of this is taking place in the schools, and I I don't get it. And I was sent something right before the show started that I wish I could have dug into a little more, because it's sort of it's a topic that has me wondering about all of this. And it's like, how is this taking grip so fast? This whole trans in everything movement and trans towards kids, the kids. That's the focus of this show tonight, is the kids. And yeah, I wish I would have had a chance to dig into it more, because it looks like there's a lot of underhanded lobbying and just really shady stuff going on. So I got the article. We'll look at it live tonight on the show, but I have other stuff prepared. But kind of why do I care so much? I don't have kids, you know. Why do I care so much about the kids? And well, I didn't have the nicest mom. She wasn't the greatest lady. She was kind of mean to us, kind of mean to my sister, my dad, me. I'm not talking about my mom that's always in the chat. That's my stepmom. That's Shelly. She's awesome. She's the best human on earth. I mean that. She's the best. But my stepmom was, or my real mom was psychologically abusive, to say the least. And well, she told us a lot of lies and things, but the worst thing that she did to me growing up, well, one of the worst things that she did was drugged me, because I was a hyper kid. I was a hyper weird kid. I was eccentric, you know, and like so many other kids, I was put on Ritalin. And you know, I know so many of you guys probably, this topic too has triggered a lot of people as well, like Ritalin and Adderall and all these different things. And fine for you, your kids, whatever, but it was not right for me, and it was bad. And you know, probably a lot of it was that I wasn't taking it, and they kept increasing the dosage. So one of the things when I was a kid, you know, they made me take Ritalin, and my parents and psychiatrists, because I was a kid that had a lot of energy and liked to run around, and I just acted weird. So they took me to a shrink, because that's what they did in the 90s. And, you know, but just boy kids, that's kind of how we behave. But anyway, they decided to put me on drugs. That's what all moms were convinced to do back then, was put their kid on Ritalin. And they did, but I hated it. It made me feel like a zombie. I absolutely hated it right off the bat. It just completely numbs you. I mean, at least when I was a kid, I don't know any of you guys remember growing up. When I was a kid, it dulled everything, and it just made me lucid, or made me not lucid, maybe the opposite of lucid. Just made me sink into the couch, and I couldn't do anything. And I guess, you know, that was sort of the goal, right? I was too hyper, and I freaking hated it. So me and my best friend, we were supposed to take it every day at lunch in elementary school. I mean, I was like in third grade at this time that I'm thinking of. And we would go to the nurse's office every day, and we were supposed to take it. And she would put the pill in one hand and give us a paper cup with water in it. And we would put the pill in our mouth, and we'd drink the water, and we'd spit the pill into the cup, and we'd throw it in the trash can. So we never took it, you know. And our teachers were like, "We don't know. They're still off the walls." You know, we were bonkers. We were super hyper kids, but I don't know. I'm if you can't tell, I'm very against this whole thing. So they thought that the drugs weren't working and we were actually taking them when in fact we weren't taking them. And, we did sometimes. That's why we didn't take it, because when we did take it, we absolutely hated it. It turned us into zombies. So they kept increasing the dosage and we kept not taking it, and up it went. Well, every now and then, on the weekends or whatever, our mom would give us an actual glass, and they would watch us. And I remember my mom too saying specifically, like, you better take it. I'm watching you. I'm making sure. So reflecting on it now, it tells me, it's like, okay, so you had some inkling that I wasn't taking it, but you kept increasing the dosage. Like, holy crap. Like, did you discuss this with the doctors when you're making this decision to up the dosage? Well, you might not be taking it. That's seems like a flag would go off. But anyway, so I would have to take it every now and then. And man, so I don't know what the dosage was, but man, I remember one time specifically in Tahoe. We were in Lake Tahoe, and it was that exact situation. Gave me a glass. My mom gave me a glass and gave me the pill, and I took it, and it freaking destroyed me. It just turned me into a zombie, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. But usually I didn't take it. So, it was only like when my mom actually watched me swallow the damn pill was the only time I would ever take it, which in reflection to me, I mean, I don't know. I'll move forward. Well, I'm going to take a sip of Red Bull first. Well, so, they kept increasing the dosage because it wasn't working. Every now and then I would have to take it. And this all came to a head when my dad took me to a baseball game. And I ended up taking the stupid pill before the baseball game. And exactly what happened in Tahoe happened. And I could barely walk. Like, I remember this stuff. And I remember being at the plate, and I seriously, the pitch went by and I swung after the catcher caught the ball. Like, that's how I just had no reaction time. And it was awful. I felt like a zombie, and I absolutely hated it. And baseball is my thing. So at this time, I must have been 8 years old, because I remember what team I was on. I was on the Angels. And yeah, I must have been 8 years old at the time. And that game, my dad was there, and I was old enough now to have acquired some actual skills. My dad saw, I was a giant kid too. So I threw kind of hard and stuff. So my dad was a really good athlete. So he was stoked. He was stoked that I was playing ball. And he was stoked that I was enjoying it. And he was stoked that I was good at it. And this game, when he saw what happened to me, it did not sit well with him. It did not sit well with him at all. And I remember that night, my dad's such a cool, calm, and collected dude. My dad's like a hippie dude. And if you would have called him a hippie, he would get mad at you, but he's kind of a hippie dude. He was a deadhead. Wasn't a hippie. Hippies were before his time, he would say. But nicest guy in the world. Never even raised his voice. Never got mad. Just super nice guy. And I remember that night hearing him, "Never again, Kathy. Never again." And it's awesome, because that's what happened. Never again did I take that shit. And I'm glad my dad stuck up for me. And I'm not going to go into stuff about my mom, but that wasn't just the gist of it. But that's why this medical stuff that's being imposed on kids particularly really, I'm imagining, I'm not a psychologist, I'm thinking this is why it strikes a chord so much with me. I don't even, the best thing about kids is that after I'm done coaching Little League or whatever, it's usually the only time I have to interact with them. I don't even do that anymore, but they get to go home with you guys. That's the best part about it. Kids are cool sometimes, but they get annoying really fast. So I don't even know if I want kids. So it doesn't make sense, I guess, that this bothers me so much, but it does. Maybe it's because future generations. Maybe it's because I'm terrified that these kids are going to be the ones roaming the earth when I'm old and decrepit and can't defend myself. It's the stuff that I'm seeing done to these kids is so much more horrific than the stuff that happened to me and stuff that I went through. And the stuff I went through wasn't great. I'll just say that. There were some things, but the medical thing, the forced drugs on me, where I knew I did not need those drugs. I didn't. I never did. I was a high IQ kid with a lot of energy and a lot of physical talent. So they decided to curb all of that and suppress all of that instead of nurturing all of that. And they did that to a lot of kids. And I'm glad my dad stuck up for me, because baseball taught me maybe more than school did. Athletics might have taught me more than school did. I learned more about history and governments and systems of governing and sciences after school than I did in school, because I just started picking up books and I started learning for the sake of learning, not, having crap shoved down my throat that I didn't care about. And that's all these indoctrination camps are, but I digress. So that's maybe why all this stuff hits home so much for me. But I will move forward and talk about what we're getting into tonight. And it's not good, because, well, if you want to see what's not good, go to Twitter and type in vaginoplasty into the search engine. I'm not saying go to images. That's not what I'm talking about. And I imagine those are horrific too, and they are. Well, I don't have to imagine. I've seen them. But the conversations that are taking place are psychotic. There's no other way for me to describe the conversations. Pete Grabber, greetings, Wally World. How you doing? You can check them out yourself. I know people don't like using these terms, body mutilation, but men are cutting off their genitals and they're cutting a hole in themselves that they try to use plastic surgery to make look like a vagina. And it's essentially a wound that needs to be kept open. And they're doing this. Well, they say they're not doing it to kids, but, well, we learned that they are. And I didn't know about Jazz Jennings until last week. And I can thank Tim Pool for that. I mean, I don't watch TV. I don't have cable. I never turn on TV. The TV I have is my monitor. And I have I watch movies every now and then. I can't even remember the last movie I watched, but I'll binge watch a TV show if I hear it's great. I did just binge watch a TV show a few months ago, but anyway. I didn't know about Jazz Jennings. I didn't know about all this crap. I knew the gender ideology stuff, the drag queen story hour, and had her, and I hear stuff about the gender stuff being pushed on kids, but I didn't realize the extent. I had an idea, I guess, but I didn't realize how common this stuff was and how much it's geared towards kids. So we'll just get into it. There is a few things that I want to share, and, well, all of these are just articles, so I don't even need audio. All right. You guys, this isn't going to be a fun show, but it's something that we need to go through. So let's go through it. I'm going to share stuff with you guys. We're going to read. So this all started with me with seeing this post-millennial article. And I mean, say what you guys want about the post-millennial. I don't see anybody else covering this. And you guys can see this. Trans teen died from vaginoplasty complications during landmark Dutch study used to justify child sex changes. And in this article, it's as horrific as it sounds. Basically, this person had been on puberty blockers since they're from a very young age. And what these puberty blockers did is shrink something that they normally use to reconstruct to create the vagina. So instead of doing that, they had to use, I believe, part of the colon. You guys could read this article. It's linked in my in the description in this video. So all the articles are linked down below. I'm not going to read all of them, but they used the colon, I believe, and it got infected. And it's a more risky procedure. And this is a perfectly healthy 18-year-old. So this was an adult, but they started doing the puberty blockers, obviously, well, when the kid hit puberty, and we'll get into that a little later. But because of these puberty blockers, it made the vaginoplasty, the traditional way of doing it, not be able to be done. Typically, you couldn't do it. You get what I'm saying? They couldn't use the tissue that was normally there because it was so shrunken down because of the puberty blockers. So they had to use, I guess, the colon. All of this stuff is so preposterous for me to even vocalize and say out loud, because I can't understand how anybody would want to do this to themselves. I know I don't have gender dysphoria. I don't get it. But even there are people that want their arms chopped off, and they probably know that they shouldn't. I don't get this. Anyway, this child got necrosis and ended up dying. And this is not obviously not a pleasant death. This is a gross, I imagine, painful and horrible way to go. And it was probably very scary for the child. I'm saying child because 18-year-old freaking kid, man. And well, they did this to this kid. To me, this is murder. This is murder, and everyone's guilty. Everyone involved is guilty of murder of an 18-year-old child. I'm going to try very hard on this show, but what are we doing, people? What are we doing? Okay. I'm going to try to keep going here. So the next thing we got here. So I decided to start, looking into vaginoplasty. Well, not for myself, obviously. Sorry, I got to throw a little humor into this awful, awful show. This is not going to be a good show, guys. I'm just telling you, this isn't going to be a good show. I apologize, but we got to get through it. So I just saw this tweet, Shane D. Wilson. Amazing. The image of the vaginoplasty page in Boston's Children's Hospital website has the pic of a little kid. And it does in the screenshot. And then, so that, obviously caught my attention. This is an older tweet. And this is because I searched vaginoplasty. And this is from August 20th. So this is a tweet that I just came across randomly. I was like, that is sort of perplexing. Wait, Boston Children's Hospital? What is vaginoplasty? And so I immediately, is this photoshopped? But he's got the link here. So naturally, I had to go to the link. So let's go to the link. Was I not even sharing that with you guys? I'm sorry. I don't even think I was sharing that with you guys. Dang it. No, I need to show you again really quick. I'm sorry. Yeah, that wasn't At least I caught it. Still learning, guys. Still learning. This is episode 13 of CaliBased, by the way. I don't even think I said that. Which one is this? Yeah, Shane D. Wilson. Go. Okay. Should be able to see this now. So yes, Boston. He's imaging vaginoplasty page at Boston's Children's Hospital has a kid on it. It does, little kid. And I'm like, wait, Boston's Children's Hospital? Why are they even talking about vaginoplasty? This don't make any sense. Why? So naturally I had to click the link, which I do. And hopefully, can I do this? Yes, I can. All right. So I go to the link. Wait, am I not sharing it? I think I'm screwing it up again, guys. I am. I don't know what's happening. I'm sorry. I told you it was going to be a bad show. It's just a bad show all around. We all have bad nights, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. You should be able to see this now. This is Boston's Children's Hospital, but notice how the child is not in the picture anymore. Now it's just a picture of the hospital. That's where the child was, right here. So, but it is Boston Children's Hospital, and it is gender surgery or Center for Gender Surgery at Boston's Children's Hospital. You hear a ton of people say they're not doing that. They're not cutting people's, wieners off and stuff like that. And it says, okay, you look here, it says you must be 18. And that is for vaginoplasty, or so basically you got to be 18 for them to cut off your dick or build you a vagina, but they will cut off your tits if you're a minor. They will cut off your tits. So it does say that in here. So to qualify for gender affirmation, they call it gender affirmation. Notice the purposeful language. To qualify for gender affirmation at Boston Children's Hospital, you must be at least 18 years old for phalloplasty, I can't even pronounce these, or vaginoplasty. You must also have the following: a letter from a medical doctor or nurse practitioner stating that you have persistent, well-documented gender dysphoria and specifying the length of hormone therapy. A letter from your regular therapist stating that you have persistent, well-documented gender dysphoria and significant mental health concerns are well controlled, and that you have been living full-time in your identified gender for at least 12 months. So a year. You got to be saying that you were the opposite sex for at least a year. A second letter from a mental health professional familiar with the procedure you are seeking, stating that you're ready for the surgery, that you should include your understanding of the surgery procedure and recovery needs, fertility implications of the surgery, and risks of surgery. It should also state that you are able to consent for surgery and include any assessment of your support systems. So, okay. Patients who want to pursue chest surgery must be at least 15 years old and have the following. So a mastectomy, isn't that what they call it when they cut your boobs off? So you got to be at least 15. A letter from a medical doctor or nurse practitioner stating that you have persistent, well-documented gender dysphoria, or specifying either the length of hormone therapy or why or not taking hormone therapy. A letter from a mental health provider stating that you have the capacity to consent and that any significant mental health issues are being addressed. So they're well aware that the people coming to them for these procedures have mental health issues. And their solution for these mental health issues is to cut them up permanently. And they'll say that puberty blockers aren't permanent. They're lying. They would be lying when they said that. So that was just what I stumbled across with Boston Children's Hospital. And I guarantee you, oh, you know what? Somewhere on here, There's something I read that was very triggering for me. There was just something in here that just said that I can't find it. That it's irreversible. And yeah, okay. So that's Boston's Children's Hospital. They will cut the boobs off of a minor. So anybody that says that they're not doing that, that is false. But they are correct when they say that they won't cut the wiener off of a child and they won't build a vagina for a child. You got to be 18. Great. Okay. So all this stuff is so shocking for me. And it doesn't matter how many times I see these types of things. It's just so hard for me to wrap my brain around that we're actually doing this and people are actually defending it and okay with it. And people will just not say anything because they don't want to be called a transphobe. And it just, my brain breaks talking about it. Hallucinate. How you doing? Nice to see you. She's one of the people she sent me an article right before this, and I wish I could have went through it a little bit more, but we'll go through it a little bit on the air here. It's going to be a bad show, guys. It's going to be a bad show. I'm sorry. It's going to be like Ricky Gervais hosting, what was it, like the Grammys or something? Was it the Grammys? I don't know. One of those shows nobody cares about. Okay. Next thing. Yeah. Then I stumbled across this NIH thing. Yeah. Let me show you this. And it's just a lot of it is the language that they use that's so triggering for me. So let's see this. Yeah, here we go. Sorry, my dog barks. She likes to do that. So this is just it's you guys have all seen these. I believe, what do they call these? A study. Do they call these a study? But I'm gonna jump straight to the results. Well, now we got time. Yeah, we're just gonna read the objectives, the methods, the results, and the conclusions. Okay. And just pay attention to the language. We characterize referral trends over the time of a transgender clinic within an integrated health system in Northern California. We identified the transition-related requests of pediatric, transgender, and gender non-conforming patients and evaluated differences in referrals by age group. The methods. Medical records were analyzed for patients 18 years and older of age in the Kaiser Permanente Northern California health system who were referred to a specialty transgender clinic between February 2015 and June 2018. So this is my area, and this is talking probably about somebody very specific we're going to talk about later in the show. Trends in the treatment demand, demographic area, service request, and surgical history were abstracted and medical charts and analyzed by using descriptive statistics. I'm sorry, I'm very parched, guys. Results. Jesus. We identified 417 unique transgender and gender nonconforming pediatric patients. The median age at the time of referral was 15 years. Range age 3 to 17. 3 years old. 3 years old to 17. My brain's breaking. Transhausen syndrome by proxy. You guys are going to start hearing that phrase a lot. And it's a thing. Any parent, People are going to say, you're not a parent, you can't talk about this. So I'll leave it to you parents to decide. But I don't think any parent can say my child is trans at age 3, 4, 5, any age. They should not be messing with this until they're adults. They shouldn't even be. I'm sorry. I'm going to continue. And my dogs are barking like crazy again. I'm sorry. Okay. The median age at the time of referral was 15 years of age, range 3 to 17. Most 62% identified on the masculine spectrum. Of the 203 patients with available ethnicity data, 68% were non-Hispanic. During the study period, the clinic received a total of 506 referrals, a significant increase over the time. I don't know what that means. Most referrals were for requests to start cross-sex hormones and or blockers. Gender-affirming surgery. I'm sorry. Okay. So cross-sex hormones and blockers were 34% of the people. Gender-affirming surgery was 32% of the people, and mental health was 27%. Transition-related requests varied by age group. Younger patients sought more mental health services, and older patients sought more hormonal and surgical services. Oh, go figure. So they trick the people that are seeking mental health services into getting surgery, and then as they get older, they are stuck on taking hormones and having follow-up surgeries for the rest of their life. I mean, am I reading this study correctly? 89 patients underwent gender-affirming surgeries, mostly before age 18. 89 patients underwent gender-affirming surgeries, mostly before age 18, and most frequently mastectomies. That means there's some that weren't mastectomies. Conclusions. The increase in referrals supports the need for expanded and accessible health care services for this population. The transition-related care of the patients in this large sample varied by age group, underscoring the need for an individualized approach to gender-affirming care. I'm going to read that first sentence again in the conclusion. What they've concluded from all of this is that the increase in referrals supports the need for expanded and accessible healthcare services for this population. So, since all of this stuff's been jammed down kids' throats even more, and more parents are thinking their kids are trans and forcing this stuff on kids, since more kids are coming in for it, obviously they need to do more of it, is what they're concluding. This is breaking my freaking brain. And the language that they use, the gender-affirming care, when then they say mastectomies at the same time. It's triggering. It's really freaking triggering, guys. All right. And what is this from? The NIH. Y'all know the NIH, right? Yeah. This is the same people that are forcing vaccines on everybody. If you didn't trust the healthcare system before, well, this should make you trust them. All right. Yeah. I'm going to close all those out. I'm triggered, folks. This is going to be a bad show. It's going to be a bad show. Sorry, guys. I'm triggered. I can't help it. It's not a fun topic. I know it's not a fun topic. All right. I'm going to try to actually slam the rest of this so I can have a little bit of enthusiasm moving forward. And no, these next things I got to talk about aren't really motivational. You guys still with me? I'm sorry we got to talk about this. Alice, how you doing? All right. Let's go over to WebMD, because we're going to talk about puberty blockers now. Because puberty blockers, it's also another term that they say that sounds innocent enough, right? We're just going to hold off puberty. That's what they say. We're just putting a pause button on puberty. You hear a bunch of them say that in a nice voice. All these people sound, so nice, and they want to be the helpful ones, and they use all this friendly and fluffy language. And we're just going to put pause on puberty and allow you to think this stuff while we're jamming this ideology down your throat and making you think that you are trans. We're going to pause your puberty. It's freaking insane. Puberty blockers. What are puberty blockers? Well, let's check. Let's see what WebMD says puberty blockers are. Because they'll tell you. They will tell you. Okay. Now you should be able to see this. Okay. I want to go down. How do puberty blockers work? The most common How do puberty blockers work? The most common medication for this process is I can't say a lot of these words, so you're just gonna have to bear with me. Gonadotropin. Gonadotropin? Releasing hormone, GnRH in parentheses. That's a lot easier to say. Let's just say GnRH. Analogs. These drugs suppress your child's sex hormones, testosterone and estrogen, during puberty. The most common puberty blockers include goserelin, Zoladex, Histrelin, Suprelin LA, Lupron, and I'm not even going to try and say that last one. But all right, so those drugs, we're gonna actually come back to this one. Let me see if I can jump over to. So you see these drugs here, all right? These guys. Let's jump to. Oh, I'm an idiot. I realized what I was doing wrong the whole time. Okay, so now we're over at the Cleveland Clinic, right? So you remember what those drugs were. So what is chemical castration? So they use it to treat breast cancer and prostate cancer. Okay. So I'm going to talk specifically about prostate cancer. So what drugs are used in chemical castration for prostate cancer? Gonadotropin, releasing hormone, GnRH, against or GnRH analogs, also including luteinizing hormone. Same thing I just read. And then these drugs right here are the exact same drugs. So what do these drugs do? Like what's the process? What is chemical castration? Chemical castration, sometimes called medical castration, refers to the use of chemicals or drugs to stop sex hormone production. While many people know about this process as a way to stop sex offenders, medical castration is used as a treatment for tumors that feed on sex hormones. The treatment is also called hormone therapy, may be used to treat breast cancer or prostate cancer. So if the cancer is attacking the prostate, they need to shrink it. I would imagine. So that's what they use it for. So for young boys to put a pause on surgery, they give them what they're calling puberty blockers. But what they are literally doing, if I'm reading all of this correctly, is chemically castrating them. How is any of this temporary and putting a pause? Additionally, we read the article earlier from the Post Millennial about the kid that just died in surgery, and the reason that they had to do the unorthodox surgery using the colon instead of the tissue that's ordinarily there is because the puberty blocker shrunk that tissue so much that it could no longer be used. So the puberty blockers, the thing that they're trying to make it so they won't naturally become a man, is the same thing making it so they can't become a woman later on down the road. It's almost like everything is trying to stop this whole process from happening. I can't wrap my brain around this. I can't wrap my brain around how we have a certain group in society that has a mental health disorder, and for some reason we treat this mental health disorder the exact opposite way we treat any other mental health disorder. Every other mental health disorder, we try to treat the symptoms, and if we can, correct the disorder. Here, we celebrate it. We celebrate the disorder, and we get them to, pardon my language, mutilate themselves. How is this good for anyone? How is it good for the person that it's happening to? How is it good for the people around them? How is it good for society as a whole? How is it good for future generations? This whole thing is messed up. It's so beyond messed up. This is like, this feels like extinction level crap to me, because it's like a mind virus, not the transgenderism, the everyone around all of this that's cheering for it, particularly the abusive mothers, like Jazz Jennings' mother, who reminds me very much of my mother, but so much worse. So much worse. And what's happened to that poor kid? All right. So we've gone through the actual surgeries. We've gone through the puberty blockers and what those drugs actually are. We've gone through what they are actually doing to kids and what you have to be an adult. So Boston's Children's Hospital says they won't do the vaginoplasty or the wienerplasty. You know, I imagine they'll build a wiener too. Oh yeah, no, I've seen all those pictures too. And they remove tissue from the forearm, I think other places, and they build. Shelly, you might not want to listen to this, but they remove tissue from the forearm and they build what they try to make look like a penis in their best attempt, and they sew it to the person. So you're mutilating the arm, and you need all that. That's, your arm's never going to be the same after that. Perfectly healthy arm. And then you're taking that dead tissue, trying to keep it alive, turn it into something that it's not, and sewing it. You can't tell me this isn't mutilation. This is, and I'm sure this type of stuff will advance. They'll probably grow wieners in labs. I'm not even, sorry I keep saying wiener, which is who I am. Can't be all professional about it. Maybe I'm trying to amuse myself because this topic's just so freaking dark. Yes, it's Frankenstein in God's hands. Hey, how you doing, man? Thanks for joining. If you guys are watching on YouTube, who knows? They might cut the stream. I already got a warning over there. I'll probably get my first strike for my last show. I highly encourage everybody to go over to Rumble if you want to watch over there. But okay, let's move. Let's move forward. But yeah, I'm sorry, I was tangenting. Boston's Children's Hospital said that they won't do it unless they're 18. Well, that's not the law. I don't know what the laws are around this. I think they're pretty hairy. I think the laws are pretty dicey on this. And well, Jazz Jennings, I mean, this surgery was clearly done before Jazz Jennings was 18. And I mean, you guys tell me, but did they chop Jazz Jennings' member off and create the vagina? Like, it's gone, right? I can't wrap my brain around this. Okay, we're gonna stop sharing this one, and I think Jazz, actually, no, hallucinate. Let's look at your article. There is something that got sent to me. Actually, you know what? I don't know if I have time to go into it, but it's an article that was sent to me that I'll leave open, and maybe I'll do a follow-up video on it. But it's basically talking about how this whole ideology has taken root so fast, and it has everywhere. I mean, right? I mean, would you guys agree? Like this, it's come out of nowhere. Like it is like anything else. It happened gradually, and then overnight, or then all of a sudden, gradually, and then all of a sudden, and it did. But I mean, it's really did I mean, since like, I don't know, 2015-ish to where we are right now, this stuff has exploded. So yeah, I can't get into that one. We're gonna, because now I do need to get into the Jazz Jennings stuff actually. So I want to show you guys that. And I do have just watching Tim Pool's show to thank for this, because again, I don't watch TV. I'd never heard of Jazz Jennings, and I love watching Timcast, and I really need to do my show at a different time because I want to be able to watch his show, and they're sure as hell never going to compete with this show. And I think all you guys should watch his show. It's better than mine. It's way better than mine. But maybe I'll use his one day. But yeah, let me show what Tim Pool brought to my attention. Let me know if you guys got audio on this.
Her dead.
Okay. Oh. Sorry, interwebs. Really? You know what? I think it did this last show too. Yeah, it does not like videos. I think it might be time to upgrade my interwebs. I'm sorry, guys. I'm hardwired too. This is bad. Yeah, I should do a speed test.
Mental well-being and her dilation. The minute she leaves my house, we have a dilation problem.
That is a concern. When you don't have that watchful eye, they tend to go back to old patterns.
I have woken Jazz out of a dead sleep and taken the dilator and put the lubrication on it and said, here, you take this and you put it in your vagina. If not, I will. But Jazz is bad, even when I'm home once a day. I will be so mad if she goes away to college and that thing seals up. I will wring her neck. Can you imagine? No, I can't imagine.
Okay. So, actually, I don't even think I saw. I think I saw this before I heard him talking about it on Timcast, and I just said, "Wait, what? What is this? What is she talking about?" Because I didn't know. Again, I didn't know who Jazz Jennings is. I didn't even from this. I'm when she said vagina closing up, I'm thinking a girl with a vagina. Like, I didn't know what was going on here until, I start looking a little bit and I'm like, wait, is she talking about what I think she's talking about? And yeah, she is. So let's get into Jazz Jennings a little bit, because this was a rabbit hole that I was not expecting. So here's a tweet from Amber. I don't know. This is something I came across, and these are some images. And this is how young. Look at this. Look how young. That's a. And all right. I also don't like hurting people's feelings. So, and if somebody around here, especially before all this crap happened, if I like met a trans person and they were, cool to me and they're not trying to push anything on me, they're just being normal, like they want to be called a woman or, she, like, I'm not going to put up a stink and be a jerk. But if it's like a, it's ma'am situation, well, then we probably got a different story. But, so Jazz Jennings, knowing what Jazz Jennings has been put through by her psychotic mother, if I were to ever talk to Jazz Jennings, I would call her. I wouldn't want to cause her any additional mental stress because I want to have an actual conversation with her where she would have some sort of trust with me and know that I want to have open dialogue and I don't want to attack her in any way. And I mean, I would tell her that I think she's a victim because you shouldn't say that to somebody that young probably, but I wouldn't want to hurt Jazz Jennings' feelings. So but in this picture, that's a biological boy. And it just breaks my brain that a parent would do that to their child. And where's the father in this picture? And again, I haven't watched, like, all I've seen is the tiny little clips and what I'll show you next. So I just want to show you that picture to show how young, like, oh my God, how young did this start? So, I just go to Wikipedia. Let's just see what Wikipedia says. So it's like, holy crap, October 6th. Okay. So you're a Libra. I know, guys, I'm sorry. But October 6th, 2000. So yeah, you're 23 years old. I thought you were way younger than that. But television personality and LGBT rights activist. I think you guys are missing a few letters there, Wikipedia. Are you guys transphobic or what? I don't know. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't make jokes tonight. This is a bad show. It's a bad show, guys. I'm sorry. This one's bad. I don't like this topic. I don't like this topic at all. But we got to get through it. We got to talk about it. All right. Jennings is the youngest publicly documented people. What? See, that's the whole thing too. I was an English major. All this stuff's triggering to me. It's the grammar aspect of it. I can't work with that. Let's read that sentence again. Jennings is one of the youngest publicly documented people to be, okay, I guess that does work actually. People to be identified as transgender. Jennings received national attention in 2007 when an interview with Barbara Walters aired on 2020, which led the other high-profile interviews and appearances. Christine Connolly, a member of the board of directors, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. Early life, born in Florida. When did this all start? And I hate that it says career. This is a kid. So this kid has made a career out of transitioning. Like, what is this? This is all one giant spectacle put on, and this is where this new phrase Transhausen syndrome by proxy I'm seeing floating around. And that's what this chick's mom is. And yeah. So career at 6 years old, Jennings began appearing on television to speak about the challenges of growing up transgender at 6. Okay. 6 years old, you're transgender. I call BS. I need more Red Bull. You guys drink whiskey or whatever, or beer. I drink Red Bull. That's how I cope. Okay. I have to get fired up. Yeah, her mother is horrible. In God's hands. COVID opened your guys' eyes as parents. I think a lot of people's eyes are opening up to this. Just, it's subtle things that you'll hear out in the real world that you, like, so many people are like, oh, it's just online. It's not really. No, this is happening. This is out in the real world. If you just pay attention and you just cue in to little words that people use. And this is Marxist shit. This is like gender Marxist crap. Not exactly what I'm talking about right now, but this whole victim oppressor ideology that it's all triggered. In God's hands, you just triggered me. Yeah, dilating the opening. The opening. It'll close up. Yeah, because it's a wound. It's just, all right. I don't want to, again, I don't like hurting anyone's feelings. So I'm sorry, any trans people that may follow me, any trans people that may know me, or even my one or two trans friends that may acquaintances that may see this. I personally, as a man, will never be attracted to a biological man. I won't. And I mean, I'll even say, then you got like a Blair White, right? Who's clearly passing. Like, if you didn't know Blair White was a biological man, and then you would be, Blair White could definitely trick you. And Blair White's one of those people too, who's just like such a cool person that I'm going to call her, I'm going to respect that. But also Blair White's not trying to jam anything down my throat. I didn't. Oh, that might be a soundbite. That might be a funny one. Yeah. Hopefully Blair White never tries to jam anything down my throat. But Blair White's a cool person, and I would be totally she's also like outspoken against this, like leaves the kids alone, So anyway, I'm just saying that, but knowing that Blair White's a biological male, and also the Blair White's intact from my understanding. I don't do that. Like, I'm sorry. I will never be attracted to that. And like, I'll even say, like, if I saw, oh no, I'm not even gonna go there. My mom watches this. This would be funny too if I said it, but I can't say it. I'll do the super PG version. If I ever became some like slightly attracted to like a Blair White or something, I would question myself, and I would be worried. Did that just happen? Did it move? I'd be scared, So I'm just saying, I don't do that, man. I'm sorry. If you want to do the transition thing, I'm never going. And a lot of guys feel that way, and they say that's transphobic, or call it whatever you want. I want someone that can make a baby. Like, and a lot of guys feel the same way. Not even necessarily because they want to make a baby. And again, I'm not even sure I want to do that either, because kids frankly annoy me. But that has to be part of the package. I keep setting myself up here. No pun intended on words there. Okay. Yeah, that's the Wikipedia of Jazz Jennings. All right. I think the one video is all I wanted to show you on Jazz Jennings, but there's one more video, but so everybody has been talking about Jazz Jennings lately, and I don't know if something happened, but the Daily Wire, Matt Walsh, Tim Pool, they've been talking about Jazz Jennings lately, and Jazz Jennings decided to respond. Oh, there's one more. Just this tweet too. This is the other thing. One of the things I forgot to mention to you guys about the puberty blockers and some of these drugs associated with this type of gender affirming care is weight gain, rapid weight gain. And Jazz Jennings has put on quite a few pounds. And that's another thing too, is I never fat shame. That's one thing I actually get mad about, is people that fat shame, people that make fun of people for being fat. But then there's this whole fat body positivity movement going on too. No, that I will be mad at, and I will speak out against. There's people that struggle with weight issues, and I super sympathize with that. And it's difficult. It's hard to be fit. I will attest to that. It is really hard. It takes hard work to be fit. But there's no way around it. It has to become a lifestyle. And this whole fat positivity thing that's coinciding with this, you can also be a man or a woman if you want. You could be no genders, 72 genders, whatever, all this crap. It's just all lies. It's just not true. It's not healthy. And anyway, Jazz Jennings put out a, looks like it's on Instagram, just a side-by-side picture. As many of you have noticed over the past few years, I've gained a substantial amount of weight. I suffer from a binge eating disorder, a disease in which I am not only addicted to food, but I eat in large quantities. Okay, my binge eating, along with an increased appetite I experience from some of the meds I'm on, has caused me to gain almost 100 pounds in the last 2 years. Okay, so addicted to food and eats in large quantities. I'm sorry, kid, but aren't we all? Like, aren't we all addicted to food and eat in large quantities? Because it's delicious. Like, that's we all love food. It's great. I like steak. I like ice cream. There's stuff that I shouldn't be eating that I like. And the great thing is, if you run really, really far, you can eat almost anything you want. I'm not encouraging that. You should eat really well, and you'll be able to run farther, and you could be in excellent shape and all that stuff. But, you know, I'll be the first to admit, I like fish food, even though I shouldn't support Ben and Jerry's because they're kind of little jerks. But that ice cream is really good. Fish food, if you guys haven't tried it, like the band Fish, Phish, and I'm not going to talk about them either because I'm mad at them. I grew up going to Fish shows. But that ice cream is really good. And the point is, we all struggle with eating too much food and too frequently. You know, like, this isn't a disorder. This is called being human. This is, like, to me, this is this mentality that's been perpetrated where it's like, no, you're a delicate snowflake. You're a victim. Everything that's happening to you is because the world is out to get you. And none of it's your fault. No! Just go run down the street and do it every day. Like, something, sorry. That tweet or that Instagram post that she put out triggered me. I would never just go and, look how fat you are. I'm not that guy, but I will say, it is concerning that you've put on this much weight and you're still this young of age. This could get really out of control really fast. And, there's a lot of medical complications associated with obesity. And this is unfortunately obese. I don't know if this is morbidly obese yet, but this isn't good. And anyway, yeah, just sort of coincides with the whole movement, I guess, if you want to call it that. All right. Well, yeah. So everybody's been talking about all this, and sorry. Yeah. I guess there was like an episode of this Jazz Jennings show where Jazz wanted to get a tattoo, but she was only 17 at the time, and her parents were like, well, we're not sure. That was also triggering to me. Let me close these ones out because I want to go to, let's at least listen to what Jazz Jennings' response was, right? We should at least see what she had to say in response to all the people that are talking about her, because, it is only fair. Because a lot of people are talking about her. And I do sympathize with her entire situation. She is the victim here. And nobody should be making fun of her. Hallucinate. That's a gross. I'm not even going to say that. Actually, yeah, I am, because that's funny. A womb with a view. That's disgusting. Oh, man. Even my mom's making gross comments. Shelly, come on. That's gross. Okay. Man, my dogs are really angry at me because I put them outside. I let my German Shepherd stay inside tonight because she's the only quiet one. But my lab and my pit bull are freaking psychos. And my lab snores insanely loud, and my mic would pick it up. So, yeah, that's why. All right, let's go to Jazz Jennings' reaction. I got a new stream deck, guys. My next live stream is probably going to be silly. There's probably going to be a lot of experimenting going on, and I'll probably screw up a lot of stuff, but it might be funny. And I'll try to talk about more happy stuff next live stream because this one's bad. This is a bad one, guys. I know this is a bad show. It's a bad show, and I'm sorry. All right, so Jazz Jennings puts out a tweet, says, as a proud woman and student at Harvard, I've been trying to focus on my education and myself. Unfortunately, people like Ben Shapiro and Real Candace Owens are spreading attacks and misinformation about me. My family and the trans community, here's my response. So, and you can go to YouTube to see it, but I already have it pulled up. And I got some stuff. We're not going to watch the whole thing. Well, maybe we will, but because it's kind of long. I think it's like 9 minutes. But there's some things like right off the bat that I want to address that she talks about. That's loud. So this just comes off as very fake and disingenuous to me. I don't know her, but just the way she's using her hands all over the place and very uncomfortable and not really doing it in any sort of way like that. I use my hands a lot when I talk. You guys see it, but I don't know. Do I look like that when I'm using my hands when I talk? She seemed very like she felt like she had to use her hands when she's talking, but she didn't quite know what to do with them. You know, I feel like that sometimes when I'm walking down the street. Like I never know what to, should I put my hands in my pockets? Or when I'm just standing there, should I put my hands behind my back? Should I cross my arms? Should I just leave them hanging? Should I put my hands in my pocket? Like I never know what to do with my hands and my arms. I always feel awkward. So, but not when I'm talking. When I'm talking, it actually I feel like it's they're helping me. Now I'm paying attention to my hands and what they're doing. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. That was just my impression. It seems very unnatural. All right, an immediate creepy vibes from this dude. So, Shelly earmuffs. Shelly earmuffs. The vibe I get from this dude, this is the guy that's always trying to fuck your girl. All right. Sorry, Shelly. All right, listen to him talk. They actually cut that right there. If you saw, he was about to talk, and I think they cut that clip to go in after she does her little thing right here. See, so why I would call her if I was talking to her is because I don't want to come across as somebody that's trying to disrespect her right off the bat, because I'm trying to actually have open dialogue with her and understand where she's coming from. And she's the victim. And I don't want to treat her like I'm trying to just be a jerk for the sake of being a jerk, you know? So if I can just immediately move past that, where it's like in her mind, all right, he's respecting me by calling me that. Now we can, there's already a little bit of trust built. So, you know, I'm not telling anybody how to act or live their life or anything, but this is to me a different situation. This isn't like people that this isn't Leah Thomas, you know. This is a kid that was groomed into this and was abused, you know. So I have a lot of empathy for this person. A lot of empathy for this person. So I don't think, you know, I don't think it's cool to call her a dude, and not for the reason, I'm not saying that she's not. I'm just, all you're trying to do there is pick a fight. All you're trying to do is, and to me, this is still a kid. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents on it. I don't respect pronouns though. Yeah. It's weird she says that. Aren't there moments where we all feel like we're not ourselves? Yeah. That's why you shouldn't go do any sort of crazy premature surgery or puberty blockers when you're a kid, because you're just going through a thing. Your body's doing all sorts of funky stuff. You're just a kid and your body's releasing all sorts of crazy hormones. Yeah, you're going to be confused. That's like one of the number one things you're told when you're a kid and you're going, your body's doing funny things. You're getting hair in weird places and your voice is getting funny. They always tell you your body's going through changes and your brain's freaking out. It's all this weird chemistry going on. Don't go cut off your pee-pee. All right, so pay attention to this, dude. Just body language, just the whole vibes. This dude, immediately my first thought, oh, this is her handler. Let me guide you through the agenda I want to present. Mom's a freaking psychopath. Mental health issues, anxiety, depression. Was that before or after your mother forced you to do all this stuff? Or, I'm sorry, your mother tricked you into doing all this stuff. And your father apparently just stood by and let it happen. I want to have a talk with that. I don't even know what this guy looks like. I haven't seen anything on who her father is, if he's in the picture, anything. But I have a image in my mind of what he looks like. Yeah, you're still going to have issues. You got to put a device in it to keep it open for the rest of your life, and you got to stay on all sorts of crazy drugs. You are literally a slave to Big Pharma for the rest of your life. All right, and I'm not trying to discredit anything she's saying or saying that she's lying or anything like that, because she's not. She believes everything that she's saying, but I mean, this is a new thing that this is almost like a what do they call it, a Stockholm syndrome type thing, where she's defending her abuser. So it's like her mother's like this, Munchausen syndrome through proxy, Transhausen syndrome through proxy, and then she's got the whole whatever I just said, whatever it's called. Damn it, I forgot it. Stockholm syndrome. I'm gonna play this video again, and then I'm gonna go let my dog in because she's just clawing at the door and freaking out. She's 15 and it's getting cold. Molly, Molly, Molly. Yeah. Okay. Where have we heard this before? That's just crazy to me because I'm the one that had initiated it. What's crazy is this is what Milo Yiannopoulos got canceled for. You guys remember this? Milo Yiannopoulos was trying to justify his abuser when he was 14 years old and saying that basically he consented. And that's the problem here, kid, is you can't consent to what your mother did to you. And you don't understand that you are a victim yet. And, she's not lying here. She doesn't get it. She doesn't understand what happened to her. This breaks my freaking heart. This is also how victims become abusers. Matt Walsh. Jeez, that's exactly what he said. Attack. All Matt Walsh is doing is talking. And yes, unfortunately, you are the subject, but you aren't. Unfortunately, the spotlight's on you, but you aren't the topic. You, Jazz Jennings, are not the topic. What is being done to kids in the name of gender affirmation is abuse and it's psychotic. And that's an attack on children. What we're saying is words. We're calling it out. We're pointing it out. And this whole trans genocide talk and like this language that's being used, that's no surprise you're getting things like Tennessee. This is just a horrible, horrible direction and thing that's happening in society right now. As this is the dark underbelly of the West right now. And well, all Matt Walsh is doing is shedding a light on it. That's all he's doing. Authentic self. Sorry, I keep pausing it. The authentic self. Like that's the thing too. Authentic self. Whatever happened to with you're fine the way you are, you know? And I never agree with that because you could always be better. You could always be trying to improve yourself. But authentic self, well, you know, people were born paralyzed and I don't know. That's not a good example because people that were born paralyzed, if they could gain the ability to walk through science, they would. So that's probably a horrible example. But you're born in the body that you were born in, and there's no scientific way to make you have a uterus. There's no way to do it. I'm sure even down the road they will figure out a way to implant to make a man be able to grow a baby inside him. It's still going to be a man. And I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to be harsh and cruel when I say that. It's just I trust the science. I just realized that I'm reacting to a video of them reacting to a video. All right, that's about enough on that one. We're gonna move forward on this one because okay, you just heard everything she said. It's the best move of her life. Everything was great. It was absolutely what was supposed to happen. Okay, let's touch back in 10, 20 years. I don't know. Maybe she will still feel the exact same way. I don't think so. I mean, whether or not that will be vocalized, I don't know. But I don't. Again, I don't have gender gender dysphoria. So I guess I can't possibly think of how they won't regret it. But I like my brain can't comprehend how at some point in their life they're gonna ask or it's gonna dawn on them like, oh my God, what did I do? What was I talked into doing? I don't know. So that's Jazz Jennings' perspective on all of this. That's a child that this has happened to. Oh, you guys didn't have any audio on that? Oh, that sucks. Oh, crap. Oh, man. Well, I'm not going to go back and play that video because it's long, but you got the gist of it. You understand Jazz's position on this whole thing. And you know the Jazz Jennings background. I don't know what happened there. I was sharing my screen. Okay, so let's move forward from the Jazz Jennings thing, and then we're going to go to Jordan Peterson's interview with someone that I have a lot of admiration for. Yeah, you guys got my dog this time. She's coming into the picture. She won't just go lay down. She's the one that I usually keep outside. Scarlett, hey, now she's stealing Molly's food. Go lay down right now. Go lay down right now. Sorry, folks. She's being a bad dog. Yep. Share my screen again because I want to show you this courageous and awesome person. I'm sure you guys are already familiar with her, but you may not be. Yeah. Let me show you this one. Hopefully you guys can see and hear this one.
With a suicide threat. My name is Chloe Cole, and I am a 17-year-old detransitioner from the Central Valley. I was medically transitioned from ages 13 to 16. My parents took me to a therapist who affirmed my male identity, and the therapist did not care about causality or encourage me to learn to be comfortable in my body. He brushed off my parents' concerns about the efficacy of hormones, puberty blockers, and surgeries. My parents were given the threat of suicide as a reason to move me forward in my transition. My endocrinologist, after 2 to 3 appointments.
So earlier, that abstract I read you by the NIH, the study that had determined that they needed more gender affirming care because they're getting more cases of gender affirming care. Well, that study was conducted at Northern California Kaiser. And where's this? This is Northern California. She's from the Central Valley. This is Chloe Cole, if you're not familiar with her. And she is at a state assembly hearing, and she's testifying about her experience with all of this.
Put me on puberty blockers and injectable testosterone. At age 15, I asked to remove my breasts. My therapist continued to affirm my transition. I attended a top surgery class that was filled with around 12 girls that thought they were men. Most were my age or younger. None of us were going to be men. We were fleeing from the uncomfortable feeling of becoming women. I was unknowingly physically cutting off my true self from my body, irreversibly and painfully. Our trans identities were not questioned. I went through with surgery. Despite having therapists and attending the top surgery class, I really didn't understand all of the ramifications of any of the medical decisions I was making. I wasn't capable of understanding, and it was downplayed consistently. My parents, on the other hand, were pressured to continue my so-called gender journey with a suicide threat. I will never be able to breastfeed a child. I have blood clots in my urine. I am unable to fully empty my bladder. I do not yet know if I am capable of carrying a child to full term. In fact, even the doctors who put me on puberty blockers and testosterone do not know. SB 107 is circumventing states' laws that have needed safeguards in place so my story is not repeated. Children cannot consent. Vote no on SB 107.
Thank you. We'll now go.
Oh, there's just so much there. But first off, this girl is brave. This girl is beyond brave. And being a victim and then confronting the fact that you were a victim is like choosing not to be victimized. Scarlett, Sorry, my dog's gonna knock over my camera now. See, I should have left him outside. Yeah, I'm not letting him back in when I'm doing live streams. They just disrupt the whole show. Sorry, guys. But Chloe Cole is so young and had all this stuff forced on her, and then, you know, I don't know how she had her sort of wake up call, but she's probably got the whole trans community raging against her. And, well, that's truly courageous what she just did right there. And, well, kid, you got my support. And here's Jordan Peterson, just a little segment where he interviewed her. And, you know, say what you want about Jordan Peterson, but I mean, I've gotten a lot out of Jordan Peterson's work and his books, his talks. He has seemed to have changed lately, but this interview was a very good one. And he is still a clinical psychologist. So, you know, he is highly, highly qualified to be talking to her about the things he's talking to her about and the questions. So let's just listen to this little 1 minute clip. And this one's hard. This one gets me. So I know a lot of you guys out there, I'm talking to other men right now, that you get sort of a visceral reaction when you see a kid or a woman be put in tears. And when it's both, it's just even more. It's like, okay, who do you want me to beat up, kid? Just what they did to her. And I mean, there's the two sides of the spectrum right there, right? You got Chloe Cole, and then you've got Jazz Jennings. They're both saying two completely opposite things. I agree with Chloe Cole. I don't understand how you can agree with anything else. What we're doing to kids is absolute madness and absolute insanity. That's, yeah. So then with all of that, you know, so those are the two sides of that. And then, you know, and I hallucinate. I wish I could have gotten into your thing a little more, because then I see Gavin Newsom tweet this out today. And it's just, my brain almost broke when I saw this. So Gavin Newsom tweets this out today. Happy Library Week, California. Here are some facts that the GOP don't want you to know. 2022 is the highest number of attempted book bans on record for the American Library Association. It was a 75% jump from 2021. Make no mistake, this is an organized effort. Well, if all you did is just read the tweet and say, okay, well, that does sound bad. They're banning books. The GOP is banning books, right? Well, if you look at the article he linked and the picture that is on this article, it's a book called Genderqueer. And it would appear that in this tweet, Gavin Newsom is saying that Genderqueer is one of the books that should be allowed in children's libraries. That Would that be a fair statement to make from Gavin Newsom's tweet that he feels genderqueer should be allowed in children's libraries? Well, if that's the case, I'm about to show you some pictures from genderqueer. Sorry, Shelley, might want to turn away. This is in the book Genderqueer. I'm not going to read it. I'll let you guys look. So this is what they're pushing. This is the ideology that they're pushing on kids. This is what they want in schools. This is an attack on children. And parents, especially in California, should be screaming from the rooftops, pulling kids out of school in mass. Like, just, okay, I don't know how we're going to do this. We don't have the money for homeschool, but we're doing it. You're just coming out of school. You're staying home. You're coming to work with me, whatever. We're figuring it out. Because this is this is so far beyond not acceptable. This is like, people are going to lose their kids to this psychotic ideology. They're coming after your kids. Not trying to be a fear merchant here. And that's what, well, nobody watches this show, so they won't call me a fear merchant, but maybe down the road they will. How can you say they're not coming after your kids? Look what they're teaching them. I gotta get this off my screen. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's just, that's what they want in libraries of schools right now. And it's rough. Yeah. That's the hard stuff that I had to get through tonight. And we're at the end of it. We're at the end of the hard stuff. And I'm glad. I got through it without turning into a sopping little baby as well. So that's good. But there are a couple other things that I wanted to cover. I won't go too much longer, but of course, so I'm a big old jerk. I'm a big giant a-hole. You talked about all the Steven Crowder stuff yesterday with him and Dave Landau. And then today, Steven Crowder comes out and talks about he's been going through a horrific divorce for the last year. And I just totally feel like a jerk now. And, I still, I don't know. Steven Crowder's been doing this for a very long time. And he has built something very big. And he has done a lot for the conservative movement, which I'm not part of the conservative movement. I'm not part of any movement. I'm part of the truth movement. And, I like libertarians. They're kind of my people, but I don't feel like there's any way of voting your way out of this anyway. So I'm just sort of watching you all argue about it. But, sorry, lost my way there. But I respect what Steven Crowder's been doing. And I I don't have any leg to stand on in terms of like judging Steven Crowder or anything like that. But yeah, just saying yesterday that I sided with Dave Landau yesterday. Well, I don't even know if Steven Crowder's going to respond to any of that stuff, but maybe we should cut him a little bit of a break. Sounds like he's going through some crap. So I do hope that a divorce is probably the worst thing a man can go through. So I just, feel like a jerk about that. That was just a little bit of follow up on the Steven Crowder, Dave Landau stuff. I wonder if Dave knew. I'm sure Dave knew. I wonder if this timing of him saying that is funny as well. But yeah, just wanted to, I guess, I don't know. Is that housekeeping? Did I do a little housekeeping there? I guess I did. And I did want to do a little Tucker follow up because, well, the same people you would expect are at it again. You know, you got like AOC, Whoopi Goldberg, freaking Michael Rappaport, that idiot. And actually, I'm going to close this because I know where to find it. Whoopi Goldberg, Michael Rappaport, sorry, AOC, and well, Jimmy Kimmel was just kind of talking trash online, but I did want to show you guys what they're saying because it's just AOC is something else. I always joke about saying I can fix her. There is no fixing her. She is out of her mind. She is so freaking authoritarian. It's ridiculous. So let's look at this one. Hopefully you guys could hear this.
Tucker Carlson is out at Fox News. Couldn't have happened to a better guy. What I will say, though, is while I'm very glad that the person that was arguably responsible for some of the largest, driving some of the most amounts of death threats and violent threats, not just to my office, but to plenty of people across the country, I also kind of feel like I'm like waiting for the cutscene at the end of a Marvel movie after all the credits have rolled. And then you see like the villain's like hand reemerge out to grip over like the end of a building or something. But deplatforming works and it is important. And there you go. Good things can happen.
Translation: force them to comply. Force them to comply. No, deplatforming does not work. And you're right about that hand coming out and gripping over the building because you just made Tucker stronger than he's ever been. He's resting. He's recuperating right now. You all are in store for a whirlwind. AOC, you are just straight up evil. You're googly eyed. Oh, man. Just Alex Stein, troll her into oblivion. She is awful. She is so freaking awful. I cannot stand her. All right. So that's what Whoopi Goldberg, or I'm sorry, that's what AOC has to say about the whole freaking Tucker Carlson thing. Let's see what The View has to say about it. Hopefully you guys can see and hear this one. Russia said it's good day for Ukraine. Did you see that? Notice that? Unreal. All right. And then the last little dirtbag to share his opinion on it. You've got this, sorry, Shelly, herpes infested face, Michael Rappaport. And this is his 2 cents on the deal. Sorry, Shelly. It's him cursing, not me. All right, you guys get the gist of it. They're all really happy that Tucker Carlson's fired. Okay, but why? Why? Like, what do they all have in common other than the fact that they're all mid-wit corporate shills? What else do they all have in common? Well, they're all pro-Ukraine war. They're all silent on releasing the Epstein client list. They all, for some reason, defend the deep state collusion, FBI and Twitter, and obviously with mainstream corporate press, all the stuff that came out in the Twitter's files, instead of saying, oh my God, look at all this information that they're showing us about how everyone's been censored. And I mean, specifically the Hunter Biden laptop stuff. Look at, instead of saying all of that, they're trying to discredit it and say it's misinformation and put Matt Taibbi in prison for 5 years for getting an acronym wrong. Yeah, that's what they have in common. And they all pumped the vaccine. That's who these people are. That's who the people that are cheering for Tucker. Well, I got bad news for him, because Tucker's not going away. Like, what do they think? What do they think he's gonna, like, just disappear? I don't know. It seems very silly to me. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to get into tonight for the whole show. And I'm glad I got through it without becoming a big soppy baby man, because that stuff is hard for me to talk about. It is very hard for me to talk about them going after the kids. And I think there's no way to say that there isn't some sort of, like, coordinated effort to jam this stuff into kids' brains. It's sinister. It's very sinister. So I wanted to talk about as much I could in one episode, because there's a lot to cover. So yeah, and it pretty much did take up the whole episode. So I'm glad I got through all of it. But you know how we roll around here. We're gonna go and out before I gotta. If you guys got all the way to the end of this episode and you like what I'm doing, you can support my work over at Locals. Much appreciated. Like, share, subscribe. All that stuff's always good. Retweets, follows, all that stuff. Much appreciated. Yeah, I am trying to build this thing, so any support I could get is very, very helpful. And I'm up against the machine, so yeah, it's just me against the machine. So any support I can get would be very helpful. But to end every show, greatest book ever written, The Truth About Chuck Norris. We're gonna pick a joke. I'm gonna randomly go to a page. I'm gonna scan a joke. Hopefully, it's a good one. Yeah. Okay. All right. End every show with a Chuck Norris joke. Here it is. You guys ready? You guys ready for the Chuck Norris joke? Okay. Chuck Norris solved the Bermuda Triangle by using the Pythagorean theorem. And on that note, folks, stay CaliBased.